keep this at 25 minutes or less. So please if you got questions, comments, just kind of write them down, and we'll do questions and comments right at the end. Otherwise, we'll never get done. So today, we're going to talk about the book of Job. It's probably the earliest book in the Bible. The events occurred roughly about 4,000 years ago. There's theological debate on who the author is, but most theologians believe it was most likely Moses who actually wrote it down from verbal dialogue left by Elihu or Job. And interestingly, in Islam, Job is one of the 25 prophets mentioned in the Quran. So the outline for today's presentation, for you anglers, any fishermen here? Okay, for you anglers out there, the first topic is going to be God sets the hook. Okay? Satan attacks twice. Woe is Job, but does he curse God? With friends like these, who needs enemies? Enter the young whippersnapper. God speaks, and then Job confesses, repents, intervenes for his friends or so-called friends, and is restored. So as I go through this, wherever you see bold, and it's in bold written, let's read Job, that's why you have Bibles, because what I would prefer to do is have everybody read some, but they're not going to be able to hear it on the cyberspace. So I'll do all the reading, but you can follow along in your Bibles. There'll be several slides up here that does have Bible verses, but they're not in bold. Those are just for future reference. So if you need the slides later, I'll be glad to give those to you and see why I picked out certain things that I did. Okay, so God sets the hook. Job in the Bible is the greatest, the most blessed man of all the East at that time. A bunch of folks, angels, sons of God, get around God and start talking, but Satan's there also. And so God turns to Satan and says, I paraphrase, "What's up, Satan?" Satan says, "I've been going over all the earth." The implication is he's been looking for someone to devour and destroy. Then God looks at Satan and says, have you considered my servant Job? And at that point, God sets the bait, for you anglers again. God sets the bait, Satan takes the bait and God sets the hook. And then Job, right from the get-go, is declared righteous, blameless and righteous by God. And that's a challenge because Satan really wants to get this guy because he is declared righteous by God. And it's a challenge that the prideful Satan could not pass up. So let's read, if you got your Bibles, turn to Job chapter 1. And we're going to start out with verse 1 in chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was blameless and upright, and one who feared God and shunned evil. And 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. Also his possessions were 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a very large household, so that this man was the greatest of all the people in the east. Now drop down to verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and